Hello, friends! We're here today to bring you our March book haul.
Yes.
I feel like
Thinks about like all of the books that we're supposed to talk about and like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay, so we're just gonna get right into it and talk about books. Maki gets to go
I get to go first. I went click happy on my Kindle. So a lot of the I Am Number 4 series is on my Kindle. I pretty much basically followed all the, like Alexa picked me the first book but back in 1847, and I have been reading every single book ever since. It feels like 100 years ago since we were in the Philippines and you chucked I Am Number 4 my way. And then I actually read more of it and finished it. I've read all of the Lorien Chronicles, and now Generation 1 is out, along with 2 other novellas, I believe, from the Lorien, the Legacy Chronicles, Out of the Ashes and Into the Fire. Okay. And these are lovely. I cannot wait to read them. I wish I could, but there's that thing. Okay, and then the next... the thing being like the rest of the TBR and my terrible way of going about them because, you know, life.
Okay, I feel you.
Right. Percy Jackson and the Singer of Apollo. That's pretty much this tiny little novellas by Rick Riordan.
I'm also really behind.
I read the first trilogy of novellas that crossed over with the Kane Chronicles, which is I can't even right now. And so
this is crossing over with Apollo, right?
This is definitely crossing over with Apollo with the good old Lester. For those of you who've been following, who is Lester Papadopoulos? Pick up the Tales of Apollo and you'll find out. I also bought because I couldn't help it and because it was getting like I just didn't want to just listen to the audiobook anymore. I wanted to read alongside The King of Average by Gary Schwartz, and it's an audiobook that I got months ago, and I am so sorry for not being able to listen to all 60 hours of it, but
getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm almost done, and I'm actually just a few more chapters away, so I'm almost done finishing that book. And then I also bought The Alienist because I had binged the entire series. I didn't expect to be caught up in like one day, but you know, TV and America, so yes, definitely watched all of that. And so I had to see what the book was like because forensics in the 1800s in its inception, so it's like CSI 1898, 5 or something like that. I don't know. And that was pretty cool. Okay, we're done.
Oh, my turn. Because you reminded me that I also bought ebooks, which is terrible. Okay, so the first one I bought is a book I've already read. It's Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and this is the story of 2 sisters who find themselves swept up in this magical, mysterious world of Caraval where they have to engage in the game to win the prize. Engage in the game. And then I also bought an entire new adult series, the Wild Season series. Well, not the entire, the first 3 books. Sweet Filthy Boy, Dirty Rowdy Thing, and Dark Wild Night, all of which I talked about in a recap, so I'll just link to that. But suffice to say, the entire premise of the series is that there are 3 best friends who go to Vegas for their graduation weekend, and while they're there, they meet these 3 guys and shenanigans. I also bought Be With Me, which is the second novel in the Wait For You series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which I have also read and I talked about in that video, so we're just gonna link to that as well. This one is about Jace and Cam's sister Teresa and their romance. And then I also have this other series that I bought because of Rachel at Hello Charlie. We can blame Rachel of Hello Charlie for this entire part. I bought Normal, Okay, In Pieces, In Ruins, and those are 4 books by Danielle Pearl in her Something More series, and they're all interconnected. So good, such great NA romance. Will highly recommend those. Definitely check out my reviews. And then I also bought Good Girl, Love Story, and Walk of Shame, which are all by Lauren Lane in her Love Unexpectedly series. And because I go into NA without really knowing what they're about, I can't really tell you what this was about, so we're gonna pretend that that's not part of it. Mistress of Rome by Kate Quinn I bought because of Kelly from Bella the Literati, because she loves that book and she recommended it. And then I bought Bucket List to Love. Okay, it's by C.P. Santee, and I bought it because of Twitter, because all it mentioned was Japan and a romance in Japan, and I was like, sold!
I felt like Twitter actually tweeted at you. It's like, hey, here's a new book.
No. And then I just recently got The Autumn Bride by Anne Gracie, which is the first book in her Chan Sister series, because Kelly from Bella the Literati and Hannah from So Obsessed With really loved it. I have read her other historical romance series and enjoyed that, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And that's all the Kindle books we have for today.
Now we segue to the things that she got.
Okay, so I went to a Polycon for 2 days, and one of the books I got was The Prophecy by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the last book, I think, in her Titan series. I can't tell you what it's about because I haven't even read the first series that this is a spin-off of, so I refuse to find out what this one is about. The next 2 books are from my trip to Iceland. I got a copy of The Trolls in the Knolls, 35 Icelandic folk and fairy tales from my fairy tale collection. I just really like that. and an Icelandic version of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Next, I have a finished copy of More Than We Can Tell by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the companion sequel to Letters to the Lost, and it is about Reb, who is a character in the first book, and a girl named Emma, who you find out more about in this one, and this one is so good. I'm hard-pressed to say which of the two books is my favorite because I really enjoyed them both tremendously. Then we have Where Sea Meets Sky by Karina Hale. This is the third book in her series where they all travel. I don't remember what the series is called, but anyway, it's set in New Zealand. I really enjoyed this one. I haven't read it in a while, but I remember loving it because New Zealand, and also I love the characters in it.
Huzzah.
In my Owl Crate, which, you know, I forgot to skip this month, I got this edition of Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston, which has purple sprayed edges. And this one is basically Anastasia meets Firefly with a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy in a YA novel.
Hurrah.
And then, I already talked about these two books, but we're going to show them to you anyway. Because Dirty Rowdy Thing and Dark Wild Night by Christina Lauren. Love them. So I have these two, and I love these two. These are my two favorite in the series. And last but certainly not least, my favorite book of 2018 so far, To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, which is by far the best YA spin on The Little Mermaid and any lore connected to that I've ever read. So good. Highly recommend checking it out. My favorite book of 2018, like I said. And appropriately enough, the next and last book that I'm going to show you in this section is The Little Mermaid and Other Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. And this is the Mina Lima edition, which means it has the pretty, like, design aesthetic. It has all of these interactive pages, which I think is pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely excited to have this in my collection. Okay, those are all the books I bought, so I guess we're gonna move on to the books
segueing to the things that we got in the mail, and we're gonna start with these two. First, you know, first in, last, you know, last in, first out. Literally came in while we were filming. Scholastic gave us two books that Alexa and I summarily decided would be ours. One of which is The Spirit of Cattail County by Victoria Pointek. And it looks like one of those middle grady... With like the house that's mysterious and stuff. And so, it's about a girl whose best friend is a ghost.
And she lives in like
an old house, and then she gets separated from the house with a ghost. I grew up on this thing. For those of you who born in like 1745, like you, like me, you may have gotten hold of this really old Australian. And yes, I had to Google it, and it was from Australia. Years later, when they finally invented Google, I traced the show. It's called Ellie and Jules. It's about a kid who finds a ghost in his house, and she becomes his best friend. So this is like. I know, right? And she's this beautiful little blonde girl in like...
Casper, but better.
Oh, so much cuter, though, with all due respect. Then again, that's just me and my tastes. And then the next one is The Fandom, in which Alexa and I read. She was like, do you read these or do I? It's apparently about a bunch of fans of, I want to say, a series called The Gallows Dance. Right? And then out of nowhere they get transported into that world. Dun dun dun! Yeah! Totally doing that. Okay, next one, totally absurd, but it's absurd because it came in a box.
Came in a gold box with lots of shiny paper.
Came in a gold box with shiny paper.
It exploded on us, so that's why we have no more paper.
Yeah, that's why we have no more paper. But it's called Mun Mun, which is apparently what they call the currency in this place. And here's the fun fact: if you are rich, whatever. Here's a fun fact: whatever the size of your body is equivalent to your wealth. Yep. So at this point,
so if you're tiny, you basically don't have any money.
Yeah, in fact, being little poor is not so good. See, and that's
it sounds like a really odd book, but
discovering an alternate reality, right, where everyone's physical size is directly proportional to their wealth. Comes with this nice little. So this is, I assume, a bookmark, and this is. Oh look, it's one of those size charts like for dragons, but this time for people who are rich and maybe not so. And then little card, and best part, it comes with chocolate coins. In fact, half the reason bribery. 85% of the reason I want to read this is because of the chocolate coins. But yeah.
Very well then.
Yes, it's totally mine now. Cool. Next we have The Boy Who Went Magic. Yes, beautiful finished copy. It's about a world where magic doesn't exist anymore, but then this one kid went magic because he totally believes in it, and he gets into some crazy shenanigans, and then a plucky girl named Finch with metal legs rescues him. This is another middle grade, I think, where it's me and my new best friends like save the world or the town or the country. Can't wait to get my hands on this one. Okay, last two, starting with Brightwood by Tanya Unsworth. Daisy Fitzjohn has never set foot outside the grounds of her secluded mansion home.
Once again, creepy house.
Well, yeah, and I'm the creepy house. Like, you know what? It ends there. I'm like sold already. Creepy house. And then finally, oh cool. So this is called the Oracle Year, where a random Manhattan bassist wakes up with like 108 prophecies for the year, and I guess they start coming true. And this is another kind of weirdish book that definitely is fitting within my wheelhouse, by Charles Soule. So that's kind of cool. Those are what we got in the mail part 1.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a couple of books that I knew were coming for me in the mail. First is Royals by Rachel Hawkins. This is basically about a girl who finds her destiny now tied to the Crown Prince of Scotland because her older sister is engaged to marry said Crown Prince. And so she has to learn how to act like royalty, but she might not necessarily follow all the rules. It came in a really cute package too that had shortbread and this little like breaking news tabloid.
I swear to God, my eyes lit up like a dog with doggy treats.
Little like ponytail with like a...
Oh, that's cute.
So I'm really excited about that. And then I have The Storm Runner by J.C. Cervantes, which is the second book from the Rick Riordan imprint. This is about Mayan mythology. And I think the story is essentially that there is a boy who lives in a place where he has a dormant volcano in his backyard, and it turns out the volcano happens to be a prison for a Mayan god.
Oh, that's cool. I hope it's not
so I'm really excited about that.
Sorry, I just know a few Mayan gods that are just really more hungry than anything else.
And then the last one is Finding Felicity, which is by Stacey Cade. And this book, the way it was pitched was it supposedly the main character discovers the show Felicity, and she starts watching it in it. And I've always been intrigued by that show. I've never actually watched it. And it sounds intriguing too. I think she goes off to college in this one. Yep, she's going off to college in this one, and she sort of wants to reinvent herself, and that show sort of serves as a springboard for that.
Boy, does it ever. Now, for part 2 of the things that came in the mail, but I asked for, I want to start with the 3 Disney Hyperion books that I totally said yes to going, oh my god, I really want those books. The first one is The Friendly Town That's Almost Always by the Ocean.
Also, let's talk about the cat on that.
There's a cat, and like I want to assume that's a tail. We don't know if it's connected to a mermaid, but there are 2 kids running with a pig that has a teacup tied to its tail. I don't even need to read the title.
Teacup pig.
I don't need to read the title for that. Okay, the next one is Charlie and Frog, which to me looks like another best friend book. And I see it's sign language.
Yes, I will practice now.
Charlie's parents have left him again. Oh, poor guy. This and that stuff. Africa helped golden moles, and Charlie, he's stuck there. But Frog, who is deaf, would rather be solving crimes than working the Flying Hands Cafe.
See, perfect for matching.
So I think this is. I'm already sold. And plus, you know, sign language.
Also, the cover of this next book is just fantastic.
How could you say it? It's one of those things where you're walking through a bookstore and you're like, hey, that's kind of cool. Yes, you're not supposed to judge a good book by its cover,
but it's kind of hard not to,
especially in this day and age when they make the covers reflective of the actual book. Burning Magic. It's a shadow magic novel, which probably means that I'm going to have to read Shadow Magic. It's by Joshua
It looks
Kahn.
like it's one you're going to like, though.
I don't even want to read like the blurb
don't read
because
it.
I'm going to need to find Shadow Magic first and see if I want to get that. And then lastly, I have some pretty cool. And then lastly, did you mention that? The last thing that I got and asked for is from Smith and Felicity. I sort of have some pretty cool like ties with them. Yeah, I say that like that's
you
so
do
pretentious.
Though. No, you do though.
Yeah, it sounds weird. I'm gonna say it that way.
Okay, fine.
The last book that I got was from Smith and Felicity. I had a really cool opportunity to ask for this book as part of my Dragon Roundup. That was sort of my carrot on the stick, and you know those recruits like, hey, it'd be really cool. It's called Becoming the Dragon. I know that sounds pretentious, but it's really cool. It's by I want to say Sapien. And then yeah, this is basically alien dragons, because guy gets transported to another planet, so obviously different place. We don't know if it's in the same dimension or not, but technically it's not Earth. So I don't know if it's real galaxy traveling stuff or parallel world stuff, in which case another dimension, you know, either way, it's about a guy named Andre, and he has to either risk becoming the dragon or not. And so book 1 is called The Dragon Inside. It's pretty cool.
Okay, my turn. More books that I got this time. I didn't know I was getting most of them. First is a finished copy of A Kiss in the Dark by Gina Sioka. I actually talked about this in what we read, so
That's
we're going to
probably
link
erase
to
my
that.
eyebrows.
basically the premise is that there's this girl, she gets kissed when the lights go out at a high school football game, and she spends most of the book trying to figure out who kissed her. Next is this beautiful 20th anniversary edition of If You Come Softly by Jacqueline Woodson, which has a lovely cover. It's a love story between, I'm pretty sure she's Jewish and the guy's black. I think so. Let me see. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Love that cover though. Next is an arc of Love and Luck by Jenna Evans Welch, and the one sole reason that I am looking forward to checking this one out is because it's set in Ireland. Sorry, we're just gonna talk about that. That's all I know about it. It's a YA contemporary, I think, romance that's set in Ireland, so I love Ireland. Also, I got a really sweet note from Aubrey over at Simon & Schuster, and she sent me an arc of Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian, which has this cute little like ice cream truck cover, which I love. I honestly do not know anything about what this one is about, but I'm assuming it's another young adult contemporary about friendship, possibly with a little romance. You never know, really.
You never know.
And then, hold on. And then I have a copy of I Have the Right to, a high school survivor story of, oh, actually I think you were supposed to read this. Anyway, I Have the Right to, a high school survivor story of sexual assault, justice, and hope, a memoir by Chessie Prout with Jen Abelson. Which
I may end up reading because I'm the sort of like the correspondent for women's rights.
Sorry.
After reading the
we might both read it, you never know.
For like...
Anyway, that one came unsolicited in the mail, but I like the idea of it, so we're gonna check it out. Finished copy of Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. This is her third, I want to say, release, and it's about a girl named Zori and a boy named Lennon who used to be friends but then had a falling out, and then they find themselves stuck together on this camping hiking trip. And the last two things, actually I knew I was getting this one, I don't know why I put it in this section, but you know, whatever. We have a finished copy of I Have Lost My Way by Gail Foreman, and a journal, Pour Your Heart Out, a journal to inspire your thoughts and dreams, with quotes from Gail Foreman. I read this one as well. It's also in the What We Read video, I'm pretty sure. But it's a tale of 3 teens who meet randomly in New York one day, and all of them are suffering from loss and loneliness, and you kind of just watch how their story plays out in this one. And this one is just a very pretty journal that has prompts and has all these pretty pages with quotes.
I kind of want it. Anyway.
Okay, that is my, the rest of my haul there.
In which case we now move on to our favorite part of the video. More from Tor. That's right. Tor's been good to us, and
Tor is always good to us.
Yeah, and so we've got a mini haul from Tor. I'm gonna start with mine. We want to start with 2 John Scalzi novels set in the same universe, I want to say, Lock In and Head On. So I don't really know what the series is about, but this one is about like a virus that needs to be stopped, and this one is about like some super underground fight club where people kind of decapitate each other after, you know, terrible, violent, like
sci-fi, I want to say.
Yeah, it's most likely kind of sci-fi.
Sci-fi with a little mystery, though.
Thrillery kind of thing, and so that's
right up his alley.
Right up my alley. I'm so excited to see what that's about. And then lastly, Dive Smack by Dimitra Brodsky.
See, the way that one is pitched, as far as I remember, it's a YA mystery, but with a horror aspect to it. Okay, in my More from Tor haul, I have 2 finished books. First, we have Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is the first book of the Ancestor, and all I remember about this is that it's set at a convent where people are trained to be assassins, and I have a thing for assassins, so we all know we're gonna read this.
Yeah, assassin nuns, cool.
And then The Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Grattan, which is about 3 sisters, and they are determined to basically
kill each other for the throne.
Pretty much, or try to hold on to it in the face of whoever their dad wants to put on the throne.
Interesting.
So, and then I have 2 arcs. First we have Like Never and Always by Anna Gar. I do not remember what this is, but I know it's also a mystery. It's a suspense YA mystery. I think it involves an accident, and that's a turning point for this novel. And then we have Anger is a Gift by Mark Oshiro, which is one of the most highly anticipated titles from Tor. Okay, the description says, Moss Jeffries is a young teen in Oakland who is the hero of this energizing, emotionally powerful contemporary YA debut about the modern teenage experience. So he is fighting to survive the systemic effects of institutionalized racism, falling in love and exploring his orientation, all while protecting his friends and family amidst the modern day civil rights movement. And it sounds pretty damn powerful, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. So yeah, those are pretty much all the books that we managed to haul this month. this video is probably going to be a good chunk of time. But we hope you enjoyed seeing what we got. Tell us what you guys picked up in the month of March. We would love to know. If you're excited about any of the things that we got and want to hear our thoughts, tell us, because, you know, we try to give you guys our thoughts as soon as we can on them. Alright, till the next video. Bye!